Hello everybody and welcome to a new video on the channel here with some rFactor 2 stock car racing. I wanted to test out the NASCAR 21 physics at the Indianapolis road course. What I'm thinking is every week of a NASCAR race, we might actually test out that track on rFactor 2 leading up to the release of NASCAR 21 Ignition. As you guys know, NASCAR 21 Ignition will be using the physics from rFactor 2 in that game, and I'm like, well, you know what better way to get ready for NASCAR 21 Ignition with the career mode and whatnot than to actually get experience on rFactor 2 with the tracks that are going to be in NASCAR 21. Of course, a lot of them are going to be modded tracks in this game, but still, it's going to give us an opportunity to get used to that game. Now, I know that the AI from rFactor 2 will be present in NASCAR 21 Ignition, but I'm hopeful that it's going to be a lot more polished in that game now, as we're going to see. You're just going to get a good idea of especially these physics in this game. Is it feels so good in rFactor 2, and you're going to see that represented, I think, throughout this video now. Is also showing off the replay system. I'm hopeful that a replay system like this is present in NASCAR 21, and what I've read about the information in that game, it definitely seems like it's going to be. Hopefully it's a little bit better than the rFactor 2 one. There's definitely some work that could be done with this replay system as well. But one thing I really like is you can see the throttle input and the braking input I'm putting in there on the left bottom of your screen, as well as the steering input. That's that blue with that rectangle above the throttle and brake, so you can see how far I'm turning the wheel to the left, how far I'm turning it to the right, what gear I'm in, and all that good stuff with the miles per hour and whatnot. And these cars, they really do move around a lot. And this track here, this one was actually made by Studio 397, so this is not a modded track, but I decided we started at the back of the field, a car up there going up on two wheels, but this race not quite as chaotic as a real life race, especially through turns 5 and 6. Obviously in real life it caused an absolute chaotic finish in the end of that race, and I would love to hear you guys' thoughts as well in the comments section on that Indianapolis road course race in the Real Cup Series. I personally thought the racing product was tremendous, and I am so glad the oval is gone. In my opinion, if it's a crown jewel race and you can't put on a good race on the oval, that you shouldn't belong on the schedule, and that's what NASCAR did. They got the road course now, and I don't care if it's a crown jewel or not, personally. Like I said, if the race ain't good, I don't want to see it. And obviously the argument is, well, they've had really good finishes there the last 3, 4, 5 years, but the first 130 laps of that race was absolutely horrendous, so a good 30 laps at the end doesn't really make up for a terrible race beforehand. So I'm glad that the road course is on the schedule. Of course, they definitely need to work out the curb next year, I think, when they return. I think they already said they're probably going to return there next year to the road course version of this track. But you can see myself here working my way through traffic. We only have 15 laps, and rFactor is weird. It says 15, but it's actually in reality only 14 laps, so it's kind of weird how that works now. But just trying to get this car, just throw it around here through this penultimate turn. And the AI, I definitely can tell you that the road racing AI in this game are great. The oval racing, they're terrible, especially the only oval they're really made to drive in this game is the Indianapolis oval, and other than that, everything else is just modded at that point. So you really can't take how the AI do at ovals into consideration for this upcoming NASCAR game. But if you compare it to how they race on the road courses, it really feels like you're racing against AI that are just absolute cutthroat now, as a guy goes 2 wheels up on in front of me there. But these guys put it all out on the line, trying to get every single spot they possibly can, and it's an absolute blast to race against them. They get defensive, they try to block you going down towards corners. Sometimes if you have a run, you might notice that down the front straightaway at some points throughout this video. They make mistakes like that. I'm not sure if that's going to be a NASCAR 21 Ignition, but I really do hope that AI making mistakes are a thing, and non-scripted cautions are a thing. I want to see AI making mistakes just like that, maybe cause an incident at an oval, bring out a caution, not just a scripted tire failure or an engine failure that's guaranteed to happen. Now, as you can see myself getting aggressive here on this third lap, took a 3 wide down towards turns 1. I was running 1 assist for this race, and that was the anti-lock brakes were on low. I feel like that's the only assist I really need, is because if I try to brake at the same point as the AI, my front tires lock up and slide, and I completely miss the corner at some of the heavy braking zones, that is. But you can just see how much these guys throw it around. Turns 5 and 6, a dangerous point, no matter what it is. Real life, a video game, they still get pretty crazy through there, but we made it work. Bump drafting is a legitimate thing in this game too, I'm noticing. I'm like, okay, that's a good indicator for NASCAR 21, is I just absolutely tossed my car into there. And that is where it brings up one thing that I hope isn't present from the AI going into NASCAR 21 Ignition is how stiff they can be. I slammed into the side of that car. He barely went anywhere. That should have been both of us crashing right there in reality. So I definitely would like to see the stiffness especially worked on, and hopefully that's not something that's going to be an issue in NASCAR 21 now. As you can see, you can really rough up the AI, kind of lean on them a little bit, and they can do the same thing to you right here. I'm going to actually get hit out of the way by, I believe that was a 41 car. We stay in front of them, but that's what I like about this AI too, is they rough you up. They're not afraid to get physical and just shove you around and just get you out of their way to get to their objective of winning the race. So the road racing AI, absolutely tremendous. Next week we'll do a Michigan video and see how the AI react at that track and race against us on an oval here. But now you see me get into the back of the 11 car and actually kind of move them out of the way, so that kind of worked. The bump and run is definitely a possible thing here in the AI and with these physics and whatnot. My only thing with the physics and handling of the rFactor 2 game is simply the throttle and whatnot. So I can hammer down the throttle most of the time right off the exit of a corner, and I have no traction control or anything on, no stability control. Like I said, the only assist I have on is the anti-lock braking at low. So you can absolutely go full throttle right on the exit of a corner, and your car will barely lose any traction. So that's something that needs to be working on. I shouldn't be able to hammer the throttle right away and go no problem. It should spin right out. So that's something that definitely needs to be worked on, and hopefully that is going to be corrected for NASCAR 21 Ignition here. But AI definitely are a lot better at breaking into turns one than myself here. We're now only up to the 15th place, but you know what? We started at the back of the grid, so I felt like we were doing a pretty good job here as we were trying to make a move on the right-hand side of the 53 car. I think in the next video as well, we'll actually use the NASCAR mod again, as I don't feel too much of a difference in terms of physics between the actual stock car Studio 397 made versus the NASCAR mod, but we'll see here. I'll do some more testing now, as the curbs definitely affect your car, and that feels really good when you hit them, and everything about it just it feels natural compared to what NASCAR Heat 5 is and whatnot. And I've said this before, you know, I hit a car, the AI are really stiff, so that's not fully accurate from the feeling, but when I hit curbs and lose traction in the car and whatnot, the inputs I put in on the wheel, the car does exactly what I expect it to do. NASCAR Heat 5, it's the complete opposite. I don't know what the car is going to do when I put in the inputs on the wheel trying to save a car, maybe making a mistake with a curb and whatnot. So it's really nice to have this feeling, and really increases my excitement for NASCAR 21 Ignition. So I cannot wait to get my hands on that game, and obviously I think we're going to be able to have manual driving on pit road in that game. That's not confirmed, but I'm very, very confident that it's going to be present in the game, because they have it in this game right here, and of course they have a very tight relationship with Studio 397. They've been very open about that, and I'll showcase the manual driving here on pit road just shortly. You can even drive out of the garage in this game, and from the trailer that they put out for NASCAR 21 Ignition, it definitely seems like they've been extremely hinting towards that going to be in NASCAR 21 as well here. As you can see me side drafting a little bit here on that 71 car, so that was nice to be able to do that, knowing that's a possibility. But he sails it off into the corner and goes wide, and I was so happy to see that there as well with the AI, as he sailed it off into the corner, didn't hit his braking spot, and paid the consequences for it. Those are the types of mistakes that need to be with the NASCAR 21 Ignition AI, as they're shoving each other off the track in front of us. We're going to go 3 wide here, down towards that oval, turns 2, now 3 wide again. We make some contact. Actually, we're going to go spinning here in the Indianapolis road course. A mistake from myself. That's actually going to bring out a full course yellow, and what I didn't realize is that was actually going to bring an end to this race, because it was really, really weird how this worked. By the way, the green flag would actually come out on the final lap, but the caution system in this game, I believe, is broken, or I just did something wrong, because I decided, you know what, we might as well pit at this point here. So I wanted to kind of showcase that here. So you have full control in this game, manual driving right up till until your pit box. So, and I think it's not confirmed, but I think that's definitely going to be something we see in NASCAR 21, just by off the hints they're giving to us. But I manual drove the car all the way to this point here, and then they put the right side tires on, the left side tires on, filled it up with fuel, 14.3 second pit stop, and then I'm back fully in control to come out of the pit lane. And that is something I am so hopeful that is present in NASCAR 21, and I really do think it is going to be. But now the game was all messed up. It was telling me to catch up to the leader for some reason. So I'm under caution, trying to pass everybody here, and I'm just going to go 3 wide through the middle, and I'm gaining all these positions, and they're telling me to do so. And then I actually have a bit of a moment right there, and we just cleaned out some of our competition. You might be wondering, how did I just do that? I had one hand on the wheel, and I took my focus away for a second, and then I looked back up, and there's a car going a lot slower than me, and I'm going very fast, and I'm like, I'm hitting that guy no matter what. So I just kind of accepted my fate. But we got back underway on the final lap, and the caution system was just so broken that next thing you know, I'm in second place, and that was the end of our race. We came through to cross the line in second place. So we crashed ourselves and got rewarded for it because of a broken caution system or something. I don't know what it was. But yeah, I mean, that was a race at Indianapolis Road Course with the NASCAR 21 Ignition Physics. It felt tremendous. I was so happy with how it felt, and that just increases my excitement, especially for road course racing in NASCAR 21. If you guys enjoyed, have any questions, make sure to put them down below, and I will see you guys in the next one. Have a great day, everybody.